Now, I want everybody to check that out, just real quick. Check that out. That is a Loco Mocha. We made that at the gas station today for lunch. One of the local reporters was looking for a Spam recipe. And I came across her post on Facebook, and I said, man, I've got a good one. And the photographer came out, and we flat whipped it up for her today. A Loco Moco, inspired by George Moats, but using Spam instead of smash burgers. Welcome, everybody, to the Owl's Nest Barbecue Show. Glad you're with us. Got a great show lined up for you. We're going to tell you about that in just a minute. I'm your host, Steve Ray, and it's time to talk a little barbecue talk. We're brought to you by, watch this, Butcher Barbecue and all the great products from Butcher Barbecue. Rubs. We've got injections, the grilling oils, the famous barbecue mud, mixable injections, more rubs. Also brought to you by Green Mountain Grill. We've had those just for about 5 weeks now, and we have one left. They sell like crazy because they are easy to use, quality built. We couldn't be happier to be a new retailer of Green Mountain Grills. And we're also brought to you by Michelin Tires. That's right, barbecue and tires. What do they have to do with anything? I sell Michelin Tires, and you should ride on Michelin Tires as well. They will help you get to where you are going. Thank you, Jeff Maxwell, who is back at the remote Owl's Nest Barbecue studio as we speak, monitoring chat. Get on the chat and say hello to Scott. Scott DeFries is on there. There's Dwayne Wade. Mike Murphy's on there. Mike bought a Green Mountain Grill this week and cooked the most fabulous pork butt on it on Sunday, or Saturday rather, first time out, and did just great. Also, Steve Wells has joined us, and Tim Coaches from College Dale. Thanks, Tim, for joining us. Also, we're brought to you by Backyard Smokers Barbecue. We are the broadcast partners. They are our broadcast partners, Backyard Smokers Barbecue. They're on Facebook. 100,000 followers on Facebook. Wes and his staff do a great job. It is the go-to place on Facebook for barbecue questions, answers. If you're new, lots of information there. And if you're not new, you can join in the talk, and you can kind of help people that are new. It's a great place to get help, find help, and be help. And we love it. Backyard Smokers Barbecue on Facebook. Hey, we've got a great show lined up. You know, this guy, every time I turn on the internet, he's on it. He's like Kevin Costner when he does a movie. Robert Vanderipe, just like Kevin Costner, Robert. Every time it's like if I turn on Jay Leno, there's Kevin Costner and Robert Vanderipe. If I turn on the other guys, Stephen Colbert, there you are. You're all over the internet barbecue syndicates, so to speak. And there's his lovely wife with him, Lex Vanegas. How you doing, guys? Good to see you.
Yeah, hey, good to see you, Steve.
Oh, sound good. Make sure you talk up and be loud, just like when we were practicing.
All right.
And like Lex, when you were telling him what to do in the cook trailer on the competition tour.
No problem.
Smoke Me Silly Barbecue Team, currently in 6th place in the KCBS Team of the Year standings. And Robert, even though it's a shortened season, that's still pretty impressive. I bet you guys are happy with that.
Yeah, well, you asked us yesterday where we were, and I didn't know, actually.
Yeah, you had to go look. If I was in 6th place, everybody would know. I'd have a big 6 out on my advertising board at the gas station. I'd have a big 6. Yeah. That's me, 6, yeah. And you didn't even know.
Well, there's quite a few people up there in that top 10 that don't even have 10 contests yet, so yeah, it's still early.
So how many of y'all cooked so far this year?
6.
6. Yeah,
that's pretty good. Considering
more than we thought.
Lex, what's it like cooking? I haven't got a chance to cook a contest in this COVID era, the asterisk era. What's it like?
Yeah, it's a little different. You kind of stay away from people. For turn-ins, you have to wear a mask and gloves, and you have to wipe down your box before you turn it in.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean,
wipe
that's
it down with what, a Clorox wipe,
yes,
something like that.
yes. But you got to be sure not to rub where the number is, where they're going to put that sticker, or that sticker's going to come off.
Yeah.
That's what was happening, I think, in where was it? In Mississippi, 2 contests ago.
Yeah. Oh, great.
We turned in chicken and then ribs, and then I went in to turn in my pork box, and they said, don't wipe the top down where the number is. And I was just like, I haven't been. but yeah, but it's, it's really different because you have the 10-minute rule, but you used to have the line rule. So if you were in line when that clock turned,
right,
to 5 after, then you were safe. But now you can't really line up. So they make a designated area where you have to be in order to do that. Actually, the first contest that we did, they told us that you had to make sure that you had extra time to turn in your box and wipe it down. You couldn't run up at the last second and throw it down on the table and you were good. They said that you would be late because it hadn't been wiped down.
So they've got a designated area, kind of like a drop zone in golf.
Right.
Okay.
Pretty much.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, it's just a little bit different because, I mean, you can't get real close to people. But, I mean, you still talk and you still have, time to go and talk to people and visit and things like that. But you just got to stay a safe distance away.
Well, at most barbecue contests, they're usually teamed up with a local charity, a local chamber of commerce, what have you. Is it weird cooking without? Are people allowed to come to these things, or do the public come in, or no?
Well, from what we've mostly seen so far is that, like, we've gone to one that had a festival, but most of them, they'll cancel the festival part and keep on with barbecue part.
That makes sense.
Like the one you have there on the TV, they actually had people there listening to bands, but they had the seats 6 foot apart. So
yeah, they actually set up seating, which you never see. People usually bring their own chairs, but they had seating set up 6 feet apart from each other.
If you're wondering what we're talking about, behind me is the Silly Barbecue Facebook channel. We're going to talk a little bit more about that. If you want to see some interesting shows about barbecue, Robert and Lex have one, but we'll put that off because I'm really wanting to talk about. I'm hoping to get down and cook the not the Lake Lanier one that's been moved, but the
Kennesaw.
Yes, and it's kind of weird. They sent out or they reopened the applications. They said don't send any money. Just we'll let you know. So it sounds like it's kind of on the cusp, and hoping to cook that. So in preparation, I'm going to not this weekend, but next weekend we're going to Lynchburg and going to David Bosca's barbecue class that was postponed from last February. So I'm
at the ranch. Yep.
Yeah, I get to meet Byron. I get to meet the famous Byron, and we're really looking forward to that. And so then I'm hoping to pick your brain a little bit tonight, and then so I can go down there in Grand and Kennesaw. It'd be like Joe Namath being hurt for 2 years, coming in throwing a touchdown pass on the first play from scrimmage. You know what I mean? It won't happen. That didn't happen, and it won't happen either. Madison, Alabama is where you hang out. Tell me about the motorhome. You guys go in style. Tell me about that. Tell me about the motor. You're one of those teams. Tell me about what it's like being one of those teams.
Alabama crew, they call it, because a lot of them have motorhomes. We didn't start out that way, that's for sure. We started out in 2012 with a 10x10 tent and like 4 Weber Smoky Mountain. Well, no, it was 1 Weber Smoky Mountain and a Weber kettle. We cooked some backyard contests, and that wasn't enough. So in 2012, we started pro, and we still had that same 10x10 tent, and then we got 4 Weber Smoky Mountains. And then we rented a van from Enterprise.
A cargo van.
Yeah.
And ladies, when it's cold outside and you have 2 little dogs to keep you warm, it's not enough because they're not insulated.
Yeah. And we slept with an air mattress in the back. So
you set up everything outside, and
that's right.
And just sacked out inside. And so tell me when the motorhome idea was born. And Robert, was this something you had to sell to Lex, or was it vice versa?
No, several years ago, I said, we need to get a motorhome, so we're more comfortable at these things, and that way we can bring our home with us and at least enjoy the time. We can get there early and stay there till Sunday, and make it sort of a getaway every weekend going to do this if we're lucky enough to do that. And she said, I doubt we'll ever get to that point where we can afford one of those. And we found a good used one in great shape, and it was the right time. I said, let's do it. In fact, the trailer we had before this was like
it was a porch trailer.
30 foot, and it was a great trailer.
Yeah.
And we only had it a year, if that. But this deal, we came up on this deal on this motorhome, and I said, we can't pass this up. Let's do it.
I didn't want to sell the trailer. That was a barbecue machine. It was perfect for barbecuing competition.
Yeah. Do y'all ever vend? Do you ever have occasion to vend? Yeah. Okay. I've got a trailer, and you're right, Lex. It's great to compete out of, but also it's handy to vend out of. We did a big cook last weekend for the 4th of July. My friend and I, Jeff Maxwell, who's monitoring chat, we did. We pre-sold 40 butts, and you know how hot it was that weekend. We used the trailer to process the butts where the air conditioner was going, so it worked out well. So you're right, they are handy. So what are you guys cooking on now? What's your vessel?
We're cooking on a Champion smoker and grill, the one they're made out of Knoxville. It's a stick burner.
Mm-hmm. That's
looks like a Jambo or what's the other one?
Outlaw.
Mm-hmm. You should know that. I saw about 20 of them this last weekend.
Yeah.
Look, it's a stick burner. It looks like a Jambo, made out of Knoxville.
It's Mike Davis, isn't it?
Yeah. I think he's one of the partners involved with it. But it's been a great cooker. I mean, we were cooking on the WSM before this, and then we had a Yoder for a little while cooking brisket. But I've always wanted to go to a stick burner, and once I learned how to do the hot and fast thing, I said, let's do it. I think we switched in the middle of the season, and she didn't like that.
I didn't like that, no. But to be honest with you, when we first started cooking and I saw my first Jambo, I was like, ooh, that looks like a dragster. We got to get one of those.
They're cool.
He said, no, we will never get one because I'm not staying up all night. So it took, 2 years, 3 years?
Yeah.
So I got a Jeep to pull it with, and then I got the Champion, so. But what are you getting now?
Actually, we're going to get a Jambo in a few weeks, so we'll have another stick burner.
Have you already got your order turned in?
Oh, yeah. It's been
about 18 months ago?
So it's almost done.
Yep.
But one of the things that gave me the courage to switch over and cook hot and fast was listening to the Barbecue Central show, and Darren Worth was on there with Iowa Smoky D's, and he was talking about how he cooked hot and fast, and I listened to that and could figure out sort of based on what he was saying when to put on certain meats. So I started with that, and it worked. So I was like, hey, let's do it.
So you're gonna pull apparently you've got a pull behind, kind of like Johnny Trigg does, right?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I've got a funny Darren Worth story. I was listening to them one time. We competed against him in North Georgia, and I was eavesdropping. I wasn't part of the conversation, of course, because I don't run in that circle, but I was eavesdropping. And they were talking about how they went out the night before a contest, and something happened, and they stayed out too late. Something happened, and they didn't get in on time, and unfortunately one of them overslept, and Darren was talking about how they cranked up that Jambo with a it was either a leaf blower or a hair dryer, I forget which one. And they were cranking it up at about 7:30, 8 o'clock in the morning. Of course, turn-ins at 11 or 12 o'clock. And of course, you know who won the contest?
Yeah.
Darren.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. So it can be done, Robert. And Lex, you're right. It can be done. Of course, he could use a hot plate and a frying pan and beat us all. So but isn't it fun? I've talked about this with other people. Our sport is the only sport where you can be absolutely brand new to it, and you can enter a contest and you can cook and go up against a legend.
Oh, absolutely.
What was like your first time when you went to a contest and y'all were new and if you're like me, the first time I did it, I looked down the aisle to the right, there's Myron Mixon. Then I look to the left, and there's Johnny Trigg right across the hall from him. And you're cooking against these two guys. Yeah. And I was, I still get starry-eyed with these guys. But what was your first encounter with the elite barbecue? Because you are the elite barbecue now, but when you were not the elite barbecue, what was it like?
Actually, our first pro was the Tupelo, Mississippi contest, and anybody that's ever been there, it was big from the get-go. Mm-hmm. So they've always had 50 or more teams, easy. And I know they got into the hundreds, but that first one, it was at least 60 teams in 2012, and all the big names were there. Johnny Trigg was there.
Yeah.
I remember, and I can't remember, he had a black cowboy hat. What was his name?
Danny Kugel.
Danny Kugel.
Yeah.
I don't even remember that name.
Oh, I remember him from Barbecue Pitmasters. I sure do.
Yeah, he came down the lane visiting everybody, and he came to our little setup with our little Enterprise van and our 4 WSMs and our several bags of Kingsford charcoal. And I remember him saying, looking down at the charcoal, he says, "Yeah, you're not going to win anything with that."
Did you beat him?
Actually, we did okay. We wound up getting second in ribs and second
in chicken.
And second in chicken. We bombed in pork and brisket because we weren't used to it.
But out of 60 teams, oh my goodness, that's huge.
Yeah,
especially for our first time out.
Yeah,
I think we came out 11th overall that first time.
Yeah.
Of course, the next contest was the reality slap.
Yeah, but that's probably when in the back of your mind you decided to get the motorhome is when because the worst thing you can do is go to a contest your first time and do well.
Yes.
Usually it's best if you go to your contest, you do like our team does. You finish 32 out of 35 because that you say, okay, I wasn't last. People say, how'd you do? I wasn't last. The Girl Scout troop was last. We beat the Girl Scout troop. We taught them a lesson. So to speak. So the barbecue adventure comes from 2012. Here we are in 2020, driving around in the driving in the big rig, pulling the champion, getting ready to pull the jam. Are you going to sell the champion, or are you going to keep it?
She says no, but who knows?
It's mine.
Oh, okay. Okay.
We may use the Jambo a few times and sell that. Who knows?
Yeah, that's the way we do.
That's right.
That's what we do. We get on something and it lets us down. It's funny. Barbecue guys can cook on the same cooker 10 contests in a row, and it does great. Number 11, they get they fall out of the top 20. That thing's gone. That's a boat anchor. Get it off the porch. Get it off there. We want to. We got to change. We got to change. It's kind of like baseball players and their bats.
Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, I'm of the belief the more smokers the better. So. Not necessarily, but
well.
Yeah, every time he mentions a new smoker besides the one we have coming and the ones that we have here, I told him it's going to cost him too much because the divorce comes with it.
Don't get one of those.
When I saw the Green Mountain Grill come on the screen, I said, "Oh, I wouldn't mind having one of those."
Jim Elzer, Mo K-San, Sonny, what's the guy out in Arizona? Luton Booty. Who's that? Sterling Smith. Yeah. Those are Green Mountain guys. You ought to come up and cook on one. Y'all were nice enough to come up to my big open house last fall, and there was 20 people in my little store. My store's it's teeny, isn't it, Robert? It's teeny, but I got a lot of stuff packed in it though.
You definitely got a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
And I always say, where else can you get your tire changed and go get barbecue product in the same place, same building?
And you know what?
You can do that.
And we were feeding people Loco Mocos today.
Where
else can you get an oil change and get a Loco Moco for lunch free? And I looked up and I was so surprised to see Robert and Lex, and I said, who are these people? I know them. And then it came to me. I said, "Oh my God, that's Robert from the internet show, and from Brian's show on Monday nights." I said, "My goodness," and I was really happy you guys made the drive up there and participated in that. I wish I had known you were coming. I would have had you behind that counter doing a little work, doing a little little show and tell, so to speak. That's some of the things we want to get into. But let's see, where were we? Okay, you're cooking on a champion, and then you're going to move to a jumbo. Now, when you say hot and fast, Lex, what kind of temperatures are we talking about?
For most of the cook, probably about 300.
Yeah,
we start out much higher than that.
Yeah. When I first started this, I think we started out about 375, 400.
Wow.
Then at one point, my pork butts started to get done a little bit too fast, and the brisket.
Like in 20 minutes?
We're down to about 350 now.
Yeah.
Starting out until we put ribs on, then we back down to 300. I'm not worried about rest time. It can be done 30 minutes before we need to turn it in, and I'm fine with that.
We've actually had briskets come off about 10 minutes before we were supposed to slice them up. So
wow.
But they turn out nice, so I'm
I like
not
them.
really worried about it.
I think a lot of the meat when cooking hot and fast, it turns out better with less rest time.
Mm-hmm.
When you real quick, Wes Garrett wants to know if you're going to come out with any a new Smoke Me Silly rubs.
Our logo looks beautiful on a bottle.
I don't know about that. With the YouTube channel, I think that's going to consume most of our time. Who knows, though? You never know in the future.
When you decided to go to hot and fast, how much practice did you do before I actually took it to a contest?
I think we only did one.
I think we only did one or two, but that second one we actually did it at a friend's place, Jeff Alexander with Big Blue Q, who lives in Athens, the town over.
Yeah.
And it wasn't a normal practice. We did a normal contest run at his house in his driveway, and we had 10 certified judges show up.
Oh my!
In his living room, and we had a sheet of paper out for them to fill out and comment on everything, and that's what helped us.
Yeah, that's when we figured out that we were cooking wrong on our cooker, and so was Jeff, because there was no smoke in any of the food.
Yeah.
The actual comment we got was, if we didn't see that food out on that smoker, we would have said you put it in an oven.
And y'all did that hot and fast, right?
Yeah, but it was the way we were cooking on it.
Yeah, it was the way the stack. I mean, originally when we got that cooker, they said run with the stack wide open and control it from the firebox door. And we did it there, and there was no smoke on the meat because the cooker's just that efficient. The smoke would go to the top of the barrel and then out the other end. It would never touch the meat.
So what did you do to correct that?
So I did it the opposite way. I opened the door on the firebox a little bit, and I closed the stack almost fully. So it trapped a lot of that smoke into the barrel.
Okay. And and you just vented it occasionally?
No. I mean, if up and down's fully closed, I make maybe just a little open, and that's how I keep it the whole cook.
Oh, okay. I see what you're talking about.
So it traps all that smoke in the cook chamber and gets plenty of smoke.
That's interesting you say that, because I had a fellow bought a Green Mountain, and he made the comment. He goes, "I'm not getting as much smoke taste as I like." And I told him, I said, "Well, on a pellet grill, you're normally not going to get as much, but you can adjust the chimney on those. So that might be something to try."
That's true.
I never thought about that. That might be something.
I always found we had a Yoder we cooked on for a while, brisket. Hands down the best brisket we've ever cooked ever came off that pellet cooker. But I think the key is cooking low and slow if you're going to cook on a pellet cooker brisket.
Oh yeah.
We get the best smoke from it doing it that way. At least off that Yoder.
All right, let's go through them. Chicken, 12 o'clock. Legs or thighs?
Thighs.
Okay. What temperature? 350?
No. Those we cook on a WSM.
Yeah, we
usually
cook chicken.
Oh, okay.
So we've never changed our chicken. It's always been on the 18-inch WSM.
Since 2012 or 2011, we've been cooking chicken on a 18-inch Weber Smoky Mountain.
Well, what temperature do you run that at?
About 275, 280.
Oh, okay. So that's kind of normal.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, what we can do now then on pork butt, let's say we'll get back to ribs. Like on a pork butt and a brisket. And for those people not familiar with contests, pork butt is the third item turned in. It turns in at 1 o'clock. Brisket turns in at 1:30 at a contest. Ribs turn in at 12:30. We'll get back to ribs. Pork butt turns in at 1. What time do y'all put a pork butt on?
Pork butt goes on, I would say 5:30 on Saturday, 5:30 a.m.
I'm glad he answered that right,
Yeah.
because I usually asleep at that time.
And then
Well, you're in a motorhome.
Brisket goes on about 30 minutes before that at 5:15.
Now, Robert, how much do the competition meets weigh? And this is something that I try to explain to people when they say, what's the difference between competition food and backyard food? And I try to say they both taste good. You can eat competition food. You know, a lot of people say, oh, you can't eat it, but yeah, you can. It's good food. It's just not much, because you're only cooking for 6 people. You're not cooking for 20 some people. You're just cooking for 6 people sitting at a table. So, like, how big is the brisket and how big is the pork butt?
Well,
we cook a lot of food.
We probably cook enough food for 20 people.
Really?
Yeah.
Especially pork. We cook right now. We used to cook 3 pork butts, but I trimmed them down so they fit side by side to 3. And I had room in that front corner, so I'm like, heck, I might as well add another pork butt.
Okay. But what are you trimming? But what are you trimming them down to? What weight?
I don't even know.
Really?
I mean, just trim the one side so they can fit side by side on my rack.
Okay.
In the cooker.
Because I've seen some videos that came out of the National Barbecue League, and those guys that cook hot and fast up there, and I'm sure you've seen them. You know, the pork butt looks like a softball. You know.
They trim it down too.
Yeah, I mean, it's teeny, and the brisket's the same way.
Most of our turn-in meat comes out of that front area of the pork butt, the money muscle and the tube. So that's sort of why I cook the 4, so I know no matter what, I'm going to have enough to have a full box. And
that's something that you don't hear a lot of people talk about, everybody. But when these guys are cooking, now how many briskets you cook?
We just cook the one brisket.
The one brisket, and it's funny. Everybody will cook 3 or 4. We usually do 2 pork butts. Some people do 3, some people do 4, but everybody always does 1 brisket. It seems like. You know, and I believe probably the next question is the reason for cooking 1 brisket is.
Well, it's a combination of expense, and not that we cook compart pork, so it's pretty high quality. But when Wagyu brisket, it's pretty darn high quality. Yeah. And then I try to keep as much as that flat intact as possible. So that way I have plenty of real estate when I slice it to choose from.
So do you cook it together, Lex? Do you cook the brisket and the flat and the point together, or do y'all separate and just cook the flat?
We separate it.
Okay.
We used to cook the full packer when we were on the WSMs and when we were on the Yoder, but when we moved to hot and fast, we decided to separate because it went a little quicker. So.
Now, what is your thoughts on turning in burn ends?
I'll let you answer.
Oh, I tell you what, in 2017 and I think maybe in 2018, we turn in burn ends probably 98 to 99% of the time. Almost every contest, unless they were that bad. And we scored well. We wound up in the top 5 at the end of the year in KCBS like 2 or 3 years in a row in brisket. And then end of 2018 into 2019, we just couldn't score with the burn ends. I don't know why. We talked to a few judges and they said it just started getting mushy. And I think not that it was mushy, it's just the fat content in the point, especially that's when a lot of the people started to go to the A9s from the butcher shop. It's even fattier than a lot of the Snake Rivers you were getting. Yeah. So that rendered fat felt mushy to the judges, and when they started eating it, so some of them started to mark down.
Now, if you would take the time, because this always interests me, Explain the difference in cooking when you go to Walmart, you get a select or a choice brisket, or a prime if you go to Costco or Sam's, you get a prime brisket, and then you get a Wagyu brisket. Explain the differences in cooking these almost identical meats, but the different quality of it. Because I think there's a big difference, isn't there?
You would think so, but I mean, I haven't experienced that. We switched over. We used to, when we first started out, we used to cook the Creekstone primes, Angus primes, and they had a lot of good marbling in them. And then we switched over to the Snake Rivers, and we didn't really see a difference in the cook time.
Did you cook it to a different temperature though?
No, not really. They were finished about the same time. Now, when we switched over to hot and fast, when we cooked on the WSN, we cooked low and slow. So I put it on at night, probably about 10, 11 at night, and then we would wrap at 5 a.m. But when we cooked hot and fast, you'd usually take it to a higher temp. So where we used to, on the WSM, cooking hot, low and slow, it would be easily finished by 198 to 200.
Okay, that was going to be my next question. What is smoked meat silly's finished temperature?
That's right. And then when we switched over to the stick burner and started going hot and fast, it was common for it to go hit the 210 mark.
210
or over.
Or over, yeah.
Yeah. So I've heard people say that the Wagyu is 215 and a regular brisket's 210, and you wouldn't think 5 degrees matters, but in what you guys do, it does matter. It's because it's a game of inches, and they say the contests are won and lost the last 5 minutes of each turn in.
Yeah.
So and I agree with that. But that's interesting because when we were cooking, when we were doing a couple years ago, we were doing a lot of contests. We were cooking the briskets. We were getting them from Snake River, and our brisket scores were just horrible. And we went to Rome, Georgia, and I had a packer in the freezer I'd had in there since Christmas. I got it at Walmart, and I threw it out on the counter and defrosted. I said, "This is what we're going to cook because, I'm not going to spend $200 anymore, and we're terrible on brisket, so we'll just cook this." And we did, and you know what happened? 9th place.
Yep. You got a call.
With a choice brisket, and so
that's what always happens.
Yeah, so you just sit there, and when they call your name, and you just sit there and go, now I'm even more confused. You go up there and get your little pen or whatever, but you used to come back shaking your head. It's so frustrating because what did we do? You sit there and you try to think, what did we do? What did we do? What did we do? That made this old choice brisket so much better than all the Wagyus that were out there. I don't know.
It's funny you're talking about that, and right behind you, Trey Terry on one of our videos is cooking the choice brisket, wrapping it in butcher paper, and I tell you what, that was one of the best choice briskets I've ever had in my life. In fact, it was probably better than a lot of Wagyus that I've had.
You wrap your briskets when you do hot and fast?
Yeah.
We do, yeah.
Do you?
We don't wrap butcher paper, we wrap it foil.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely. I've done both. I don't get the butcher paper. It never, when I wrap in butcher paper, it seems like the only thing I get's a big mess. It is. I mean, Lex, it's messy. When you pick that thing up, it's greasy. It's dripping. When you wrap in foil, you pick it up and it's perfect. You got a pair of gloves on. You set it down. You open it up and the steam comes out, and you put that Thermopan in and it goes, ooh, that's butter. And then you wrap it back up and put it in a cooler, and it's perfect. With that butcher paper, it's all over you. It's all over the sink. It's all over the counter. What are your thoughts on that?
I don't know. If you watch that video, Trey did it like it was foil. He didn't make any mess.
Yeah. See, I must not be doing it right.
I've never done it, so I wouldn't know. But I'm a foil guy.
Yeah.
So.
You got a fat side up or fat side down on your butts and briskets?
Butts are fat side down wrapped. I used to do fat side up on brisket. But lately, probably the last, I don't know, 6 months, 8 months, I've been going fat side down.
What made you change?
I don't know. I mean, everybody kept on talking about the bark. I mean, we never had any issues. Maybe I got in my own head psychologically, but I was like, you know what? Let's just try it fat side down and see how it goes. And we were doing, I mean, our last few, we've done well on brisket. So,
well, you're in sixth place. You're in sixth place overall, so that's pretty good. Talk about this last contest. So y'all, I think finished what 22nd was it?
No, we finished 11th or 12th.
Yeah,
12th. That's right. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
You must be thinking about our brisket and pork.
Yeah,
the 24th area, I think.
23rd.
Yeah.
Don't make it worse.
Because up to that point, you guys were kicking in top 10 with almost everything. What?
Our brisket.
What happens? What happens when? What do you think happens when that happens? Is it just the table luck, or is it? Do you think you messed up something in the cook, or what do you think?
Well, we were competing somewhere we're not used to competing at, which is the Midwest. I mean, we're in Illinois, so we have been told that they like it sweet there. Out of 4 comment cards, so we had 2 judges sitting next to each other for pork, and I had a 999 perfect, and then a 967 too salty.
Yeah.
And then we got a too salty comment on our ribs and a too salty comment on our brisket.
Yeah.
So the brisket, we didn't put any sauce on. We had talked about it, and they no, our brisket's been doing great this year, so let's just leave it alone. And it was a beautiful brisket that turned out. But the ribs, our ribs are a little bit more savory, but I've never heard them called salty. That was like a slap in the face. It was very bizarre. And the same with the pork, because we sauce it pretty well.
Yeah.
So for them to say that it was salty, it kind of takes you back going, well, maybe, how do you fix that?
And we've heard a lot of cooks from up in that area. A good friend, Nathan Dexter and Ryan Horace with Gray Street. They always went up there, and I used to hear them say the judges up there like cotton candy, well, especially on the ribs. So I'm like, okay, and I guess I should have listened to them because
well, I guess
should have made it a little bit more sweeter.
I guess next year you take the Blue Hogs and mix it with just a quarter of Tennessee Red and dunk it.
Bring a bag of sugar up with us or something.
Yeah, or take the Suckle Busters glaze and just go to it. Go to it and throw some cinnamon or something on it too. Maybe
something.
Isn't it funny? Isn't it funny?
It is.
Good.
It is.
I got a comment card, Robert, one time that said, "Chicken didn't taste like chicken."
What did it taste like?
I don't know, but everything tastes like chicken except my chicken. And I kept that scorecard. I still got it somewhere because it was. I mean, we were so bad. That was when we first started, and I said only I could turn in chicken that doesn't taste like chicken, because everything tastes just like chicken. Let's see. Strongest category.
It changes from year to year.
All right, hold on. Let's see. Lex, what do you think your strongest category is?
Right now, I would have to say either brisket or omitting the last week. I think that was just a one-off, but either brisket or chicken right now.
Yeah.
Okay. Robert, what do you? Now just pick one. But we'll say Lex picked brisket. Robert, what do you think?
Yeah. I would say chicken. We've been pretty consistent with chicken this year. All of a sudden, we made a little tweak, and we've been getting a call almost every contest. So in the top 5, so I'm pretty happy with that. Chicken's one of those. One year you can just be bombing, and we were last year. So to get calls in chicken is a good thing. Chicken, now we're bombing in ribs. So
chicken is the one thing that when I cook, when we do cook a lot of barbecue like that, I love it. I'll make extra just for us.
Yeah,
I do like it's my favorite competition, and we do thighs as well. It's my favorite competition food to cook is chicken. I think it tastes great. I think it looks weird. I think it's weird the way we do it. It looks like rolls. It does. It looks like Sunday dinner rolls. But the taste is just out of this world.
Yeah.
I don't think there's a meat that tastes any better than competition chicken on thighs. And that's a lot of people say, "Oh, Steve, you're crazy. It's brisket." But to each their own. To each their own. All right,
I don't know. I just look forward to that chicken ribs.
Mm-hmm.
Say what? You look forward to the ribs too, huh?
I look forward to the chicken and the ribs.
Yeah.
Tasting those, but.
Oh yeah.
And then by then, after that, I'm usually a little bit full because I've overdone it. So.
I think the happiest moment in a contest when I'm cooking is when I do hit the ribs perfect, and you do that bite off the test rib. When you nail it, you know it. That's like a wow, I did it. I finally got it just perfect. And 9 times out of 10, when you hit it like that, you get a call.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because I think that's what the judges. I think that's what the judges look for first, don't you? In ribs is the bite, the tenderness.
Yeah, because I think most taste profiles are pretty acceptable when it comes to ribs.
Mm-hmm.
So it all comes down to that tenderness. I think it's a lot of this competition barbecue is a tenderness game. You can nail tenderness, and I've seen and I've heard judges sort of confuse those two. For instance, it tastes mushy. Well, mushy's tenderness. It's not taste.
Yeah, or it tastes dry.
Yeah,
we've
it tastes
heard
dry.
that.
Yeah.
So they'll mark you down in tenderness and taste. Not all of them are like that.
It tastes dry. Yeah, you could do a 24-hour show marathon on judging, because everybody, the judges are great when you win. Hey, when you win, the greatest judges, the greatest accumulation of judges ever in one place. You sound like Donald Trump, the greatest judges ever. And then if you don't win, like what a bunch of losers these guys were. Where'd you get these guys at? First year trainers. All right, let's get to the YouTube channel. Look at that picture right there behind me. Look at that. Robert is flat doing it on the big screen right there. Look at that. Looks like what is that? Is that I can't see.
Beef cheeks.
That's our first attempt at beef cheeks.
Ugh. What made you do that? What made you do that?
I saw on another YouTube channel somebody was making that, and that's how they make the barbacoa tacos.
Mm-hmm. How'd they taste?
Shred that, and it looked really good. I think it was Malcolm Reed on How to Barbecue Right.
Of course it was. Of course it was Malcolm. Everybody
sees their first video of any food, right?
Yeah. I love watching the YouTube channels. The first thing out of most of the guys' mouth are, I saw Malcolm do this last week, and I'm going to do it. And I'm going to do it for you because obviously Malcolm doesn't know what he's doing. So Steve Ray is going to show you how to do a pork butt or a pork shoulder because Malcolm Reed doesn't. The guy that's a world champion doesn't know how to do it right. But Steve here in Ooltewah can knock it out of the park for you. So it just cracks me up every single time. But I love him. But your YouTube channel is it's different. It's not a cookie cutter where today we're going to do barbecue chocolate chips or anything like that. It's more like a Barbecue. It's more like a barbecue pitmasters. It follows of course YouTube, and then you interview the different people at the contest, which I love. I love watching you guys talk to the other teams. Where did the inspiration for this come from?
Well, I guess it did come from like a barbecue pitmasters or a barbecue. I wanted to have a sort of a variation in the video. I didn't just want it to be a how to cook something. Mm-hmm. I wanted it to be more like a weekend in the life of these two crazy people or silly people. That's how we came up with the name Silly Barbecue Life. Sort of a weekend seeing what we go through and what we do and what we experience.
And kind of showing because we go to so many different small towns and they're really quaint and unique in their own ways. So we kind of wanted to bring that in too.
I like
it's sort of like a barbecue channel meets a travel channel meets a how type of thing.
I like how you always take a point of interest where you're going and you talk about the area, because that that does make it kind of fun. It's like when you hear people talk about people that have cooked at the Jack, or if you've gone to the Jack Daniels barbecue contest. They don't talk so much about the barbecue contest itself. They talk about going to the holler, going to Miss Mary Bobo's. They talk about all the different things that surround the contest. And oh, by the way, we're cooking in we're cooking in the world championship barbecue contest, but there's all these cool things to get away, and it is barbecues. I think what the closest thing we had to a family reunion. I do think so, because not only do you, if you're lucky enough to cook it and get invited, it would be great. But you'll walk around and you'll see other teams are there that didn't get invited. Still with us?
Yes.
I think so.
Okay, good.
Can you hear us?
Yeah, everything's fine. Right? We had some sort of a weird thing going on, but you see other people, and I didn't get invited this year, but I wanted to come up and I wanted to talk to Tuffy. I wanted to talk to Bob, whoever. I want to see these guys, and I want to see. I heard Michael McDermott was going to be up here. I want to talk to him. I want to see the guy from Kansas City. What they call what's the guy who's got the crazy hair?
Grinder.
Yeah, that guy. And
I can't remember his name, but
Stretch. They call him Stretch.
That's it.
Yeah, we were parked next to his bus last year.
Yeah. That's a piece of work in itself. And he wears that Billy Jack hat. He's a cool guy. Dr. Barbecue's always there. So that's it's kind of it's a who's who of what we do, and I think that's why so many people from so many patrons come in, because they see these people all year long, and it's the perfect time of year, and of course Lynchburg's a beautiful town. And if you've never been there, go do yourself a favor and go and make sure you tour the Jack Daniel's distillery, because that is I'm sure y'all have done that before. Y'all are travelers.
Yeah, definitely.
That is that's a fantastic tour. I asked a guy who was doing our tour guide, he's one of those country guys, had the overalls on. I said, what happens if you get caught drinking on the job? He said they make you a tour guide. So he was really, they're really clever. They're clever people.
They're pretty good.
So how many YouTube videos are in the can right now?
I think there's 4.
I think there's
Is there
5, maybe 5 that we posted.
Mm-hmm.
I got one I'm working on right now, which mainly highlights Byron Chisholm, the guy you're going to see next week or the week after at his ranch.
Mm-hmm.
So some information about him, so you get a little bit of information on him before you go there.
Yeah, I was gonna say try to post that before I have to leave.
Yeah,
I'd like to see
hopefully on Saturday. I'm a little bit behind because of the 4th of July weekend, but hopefully on Saturday I'll post that. And then from the contest, we went to a winery this past weekend.
Oh, how fun!
That'll come out next week, probably Tuesday or Wednesday.
Mm-hmm. And what kind of camera are you using? Because your camera and sound are fantastic. And I personally don't care, but a lot of these YouTube guys that are watching, they're taking down notes. I guarantee you. What are you using?
Well, a lot of it we're have that barbecue sign in the background and the brick wall. That's done mainly with a Canon M50.
Mm-hmm.
And then the rest of it is done with our iPhones.
Yeah.
iPhone and a good microphone.
Well, you've got the sound down, and you've got the video quality down too. Robert and Lex, y'all do a great job, and go to it and subscribe to it, folks. It's silly barbecue
life. Silly barbecue life, yeah.
And it is very entertaining to sit and watch it. I've watched a couple of them twice because I had some friends that I wanted to see over. Q&A, you talked to Q&A a couple times.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Michael and Alan, they're my buddies, and they're the ones that they helped us immensely when we were getting started.
They're good guys.
Yeah.
They're doing well now too.
Yeah, they are.
Oh, they've passed us. They're barbecue elite, especially down here on the local. They own. There's a little local contest, the Blue and Gray barbecue contest. It's on the front lawn of an old southern plantation in Chickamauga, and they own that contest. They own that contest.
Oh wow.
They're just monsters down there. Of course, they live down there. So,
Oh, gotcha.
And I don't
Yeah,
want-
they're getting their names every contest now.
Oh,
that
yeah.
We've seen them. So
Yeah, they're good. They're good. Hey, anything else you guys have got coming up? I just can't express enough to you for and Lex for you for joining us too. I always see Robert. And I say, "Where's Lex? She's a big time on this thing." And so I wanted to get you both in here. And man, you guys are you're great. You're professional. You're quality people. And what's the next contest? And where do you think we go from here?
Our next contest is next week in Leesburg, Kentucky.
Yep. Never been there before.
Nope. And do we have one? And then we have Hoggin on Lanier, but it's in coming now.
Yeah.
So we have that one. That's back to back, and then I think we're off for a week. Or is that when we go pick up our Jambo?
Yeah, we go pick up our Jambo, then we're off for a week, and then hopefully we haven't applied for it yet because I was waiting to see, but Kennesaw, hopefully we can get in there.
Well, maybe we'll see y'all. I hope we'll see y'all at Kennesaw. The one at coming. I was watching. What's that guy's? Kevin. He does that. Oh God, can't remember Kevin's last name. He does a barbecue show on
Barbecue Beat.
Yeah.
Yeah, he had Tim Malloy and Matt Barber on last night, and they moved the contest to coming, and they're not going to have any no patrons, just teams only.
Right.
And the payout's going
with the June contest.
Yeah, the payout's going to be based on how many teams they get. So that'll be interesting. Have you ever cooked there in coming?
Yeah, we just cooked there in June.
Yeah. Y'all cooked the June contest. Yeah. That's a neat place.
The Q-inator. That's where we're at.
That's a good place. That's a good setup. That's a real good place for a contest. We cooked there a couple years ago.
It is.
Yeah, that's actually a campground.
Mm-hmm. It's
from the fairgrounds, and there's hookups and dumps and water and power
everywhere.
and it's great.
Yeah, everywhere. Well, guys, thank you so much. I sure appreciate you joining the Owl's Nest Barbecue Show today. And Robert, we talked about that last night about you and Lex coming up one Saturday, and maybe since everything in the fall has been canceled, we're maybe we can get y'all up there. You can bring that Jambo up there. I've got a friend, Lamar Young here, and you will meet him on the Jambo Owners Facebook page that you will be joining if you haven't already joined it.
Oh, yeah.
And Lamar just picked up his Jambo about 4 weeks ago, and he's been posting lots of pictures on it. He's thrilled to death. So maybe we can get the two of you, and then we can get Lamar to come over with his Jambo, and we can have a Jambo day at the Owl's Nest Barbecue Supply. How cool would that be?
That'd be
That would
great.
be pretty neat.
And I'm going to bring my truck up because I'm going to get new tires and cook barbecue.
Well, we can change your oil too.
Just because he said he can.
Yeah, just because I can.
And if you'll come Friday and spend the night in the Hampton Inn right behind us, when you wake up, I'll have you some Loco Mocos ready. Okay? With Spam and white gravy. Since it's breakfast, we'll put white gravy instead of chicken gravy on it.
Lex would love that. She's all about the Spam.
I'm a Spam fan. Did you know, Lex, that when they make Spam, they put it in the container and they seal it, then they cook it?
No, I didn't.
They do. That's the way they cook it. Isn't that interesting?
Well, that would create that vacuum.
Yep. And they say it creates a vacuum and it makes almost bacteria can't get to it. And that's why, the expiration date is Revelation.
That's brilliant.
Yeah, when you see the God coming down from heavens with snakes coming out of his head, it's expired. So you can keep it that long. Thanks y'all very much and go to their Facebook page, Silly Barbecue. One more time, Robert. Silly Barbecue Life.
YouTube channel Silly Barbecue Life. We also have a Facebook page, Silly Barbecue Life, and our team page is Smoke Me Silly. And so go ahead and like that too.
They're very good about letting you know how they did or what they did and where they're going, and very active barbecue couple. You guys are great. You guys are fantastic. I can't thank you enough for being on the show. We'll do it again real soon. Thanks, y'all.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.
What a nice couple. What a super nice couple. Robert Vanderipe and Lex Vanegas, two barbecue good people. All right. Next week, we got another show coming up next Thursday. We hope you will join us. It's always fun to be with you. Everybody, thank you for watching. Jeff Maxwell, thank you so much for being there and keeping everybody engaged on the chat. And like I said, we'll be back here next Thursday, because next Thursday, that next Friday, we'll be leaving for Lynchburg for the David Bosca Butcher Barbecue School. So we'll maybe we can get David on. Yeah, maybe we'll try to do that. David's very accommodating, and I know he'll be busy, but maybe he'll take 10 or 15 minutes out of his busy schedule to spend some time with us, and we'll talk about that barbecue school. But I appreciate everybody joining us. It sure was nice of you to do that. Let's see here. Let's do this. Yeah, let's do that. Let's get out of here, everybody. Thanks, everybody. Thanks to my sponsors, Butcher Barbecue Products. Thank you, Green Mountain Grills. And thank you, Michelin Tires, for sponsoring the show. All of those products are available at my place, Steve Ray's Midnight Oil in Ooltewah, and the Owl's Nest Barbecue Supply Store right next door to the Midnight Oil at Exit 11 in Ooltewah, Tennessee, on the east side. So if you're northbound, get off the exit, stop at the red light, turn right, and we're right there on the left. I can hit the interstate with a real strong pitching wedge. We're that close to you. If you are traveling by, follow us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram. We'd love to have you join the fun. Until next Thursday, everyone, good night and good luck.